My wife just called me and said she wants a divorce. It's out of the blue and we have two amazing kids. I absolutely love all of them and this is a huge struggle. She's been gone with the kids for the past month visiting family. Then today she called and said she's done. I'm completely blindsided and I've never felt this hopeless before. For those that have been through this, what do you do? How do you get through this? I want to fight for our family, but she said she's done and hung up on me. Story 1. I had a similar thing happen to me, so I'll just describe how I've dealt with it. This is outside of legal and technical stuff. We were able to work all of that out amicably. After being happily, or so I thought, married for 32 years, my wife told me she had found the real love of her life and she wanted out. I let her go. By then, the kids were both out of the house. It helped me to just tell myself there was nothing I could do. You can't make someone love you if they don't. You can't force someone to stay with you or they'll be horrible and miserable. I have been okay because I have friends and family, hobbies, my kids of course, and my work. Also my pets, haha. So far it's been a few years, and I haven't really found anyone else. But I'm not pining away for my wife. It's over, she moved on, and I need to do so as well. Story 2. What to do? You give the divorce to her and move on. Begging is not going to help and is going to diminish your status even further. If she wants to leave, so be it. Story 3. Be happy. Someone who does not want to be your friend anymore is leaving. It's a bummer, but you will continue on. You've done this before, even if you do not realize it, and looking back, you're fine. The real problem comes when you're expected to play husband during the divorce. Do not do that. That's the key. Do not be supportive and try to help through their decision. Just say, send me the paperwork. I will sign. You will be free. Do not have discussions about it. It's done. Do not fantasize about salvaging it. It's done. Do not blame yourself. They made the decision. Do not fight over the material things. You can always buy a new one. So regarding the legal system and children, do your best to show whoever is judging that you were a good parent. Do not make a spectacle of it. Do not try to vilify her even if she tries to vilify you, and do not fight the system too hard. Assuming you're from a Western country, probably the United States of America, the legal system will side with her automatically for the most part, but many places have a preference for 50-50 custody. Now here's the big one, which pretty much all my buddies never got right. I get it. Which is, do not try to fix it. Let it go. Your life will flourish in a few years if you just let it go. Minimize communication. Do not follow up. Do not check in. None of that is your job anymore, and honestly, you need to quit up front. They no longer have a husband, and you no longer need to serve as one in any capacity. Serving after the fact will not resolve anything and just makes you look confused and in denial. Story 4. You get that lawyer right away and you try to get everything settled as fast as possible because the more you use that lawyer, the more it will cost you. Try to keep everything amicable because it is over and you do not want to drag out the process, which takes a while in many states. Story 5. I don't know what is with all the people in this sub. I would need more information on your situation in order to suggest there's no saving your marriage. I know it isn't out of the blue, as you say, as that's not usually how it works. But who knows what's really going on? You've been very vague. Story 6. She's been gone with the kids for the past month visiting family. Then today she called and said she's done. That's not out of the blue. It's been years of pent-up disagreement with life, then kids, then you. This doesn't tell the whole story, and it will only take some inward reflection on what you did or didn't do that causes a partner to want a divorce. Story 7. It's always out of the blue with these guys getting divorced. Your wife literally went back to her support system with the kids for a month, and you're blindsided? All you can do is accept the situation and make sure that the process goes smoothly for the sake of the kids. Some of the commenters responding here just seem to hate women for whatever reason, projecting that negativity onto the original poster's wife. Story 8. You need to take a step back and look at the whole situation objectively. This was not out of the blue. There have been many moments leading up to this point. The healthy thing would be to sit down with your wife and talk and ask her what's going on. Ask her how she got to the point where she is now. But before you do that, you need to be honest with yourself about the big picture. There are signs you may have missed. but they were there. If she has already checked out and doesn't want to talk, then leave it alone. Focus on getting your life together. Contact a lawyer, get the ball rolling on your side. This is the time for you to be selfish and look out for your and your kids' best interests. There's going to be a point where you two talk. Try to be as cool and calm and approach the situation like a gentleman. Be strong, brother. Story 9. My wife just called me and said she wants a divorce. It's out of the blue, and we have 2 amazing kids. She's been gone with the kids for the past month visiting family. There is clearly way more to the story than is said here. So either you're fooling yourself or you are one dense guy. Story 10. Mine wasn't totally out of the blue. Things had been building in that direction. But when she finally said, I want a divorce directly, I was devastated. That meant trying to save the relationship was done. Everything we built was gone. My best friend no longer loved me, and I was now putting my 2 boys through the same broken family process that I endured when I was a kid. It was heartbreaking and took me a while to grasp the fact that our marriage was going to be over. A year later, I'm still struggling with it. I'm sure it will eventually get better and I'll get over the loss of my family unit. Story 11. I would say, okay, I don't want her to spend 1 minute with me if she doesn't want to be there. I would be really upset about it, but she stays with you not because she wants to but because she has to is not a relationship I would want to be part of. Story 12. I can guarantee you this isn't out of the blue. If you think about it, there are probably more than enough signs that you've ignored. So many men complain that their wives leave them out of the blue, but if they'd taken a second to actually hear their wives and be a team, then you wouldn't be in this situation. The original poster says his wife had been away. She's probably realized she can do life without him after years of making his life easy, so he's never had to feel hopeless. But I bet he never stopped to think why. If you really want to fight for your family, which I think is a lost cause because you've probably pushed her to breaking point, start by working on yourself. Get therapy, understand what has actually happened, then find a way to talk to your wife after you've given her the space she needs. Listen to what she has to say. Don't defend yourself, gaslight her, or argue. Just listen to why she's leaving. I promise you she didn't leave out of the blue. Story 13. The usual pattern is the wife says she needs various things, that she's unhappy for a few years, sometimes many years. The husband ignores her or makes promises, but nothing changes. She stopped asking a few years ago. The husband thinks everything is just fine because she's not asking anymore. However, it means she gave up on him back then. She says she's leaving, and he's shocked. She was done a few years ago and was waiting for the right time to leave. Most of the time, she stays around until the kids are older. Story 14. If this is really out of the blue for you, you are not paying attention. No one does this for no reason. You need to take a good look at yourself because either you are the problem or you do not pay enough attention to her to have seen the signs. Story 15. Stay calm. As difficult as it is, try to stay calm and composed. Reacting emotionally can make the situation worse. Listen to her reasons. Give her the space to explain her reasons. Understanding her perspective can provide clarity and might reveal if there's any way to work through the issues. Express your feelings. Share your feelings openly and honestly. It's important that she understands how you feel about the situation and the marriage. Seek counseling. Suggest marriage counseling. A therapist can help facilitate productive conversations and work through the issues together. Even if the marriage can't be saved, counseling can help with a smoother transition. Self-reflection. Reflect on the relationship and your actions. Think about whether there are things you can change or improve. Sometimes personal growth can make a big difference. Story 16. You take the weekend to get drunk and mourn the relationship, and when Monday rolls around, change all your passwords, open a new bank account and reroute your paycheck, and use your old account for bills that are split. If you have a large savings, take half. Get a lawyer, move into the guest room, and do not move out until your lawyer gives you the okay. Be indifferent to your wife. Just discuss business relating to the house, kids, etc. Protect yourself and your assets. After this weekend, you need to shut off emotions until you are divorced. Getting emotional will make things much worse for you. Don't put your ex down in front of the kids. Ever. They aren't pawns or tools for revenge. Don't plan on dating for a year or two until you are on the upswing. You'll need to figure out who you've become and are growing from the past from the mistakes you made. You're going to mourn the relationship for quite some time, and you should. Once you are happy being single is when you are fine to date unless you want to be promiscuous, then let your free spirit fly after the divorce. Depending on the state, if you're caught while separated with someone else, it could be counted as cheating. This is going to be difficult for at least a year. I went through a similar situation that you are. I'm glad it happened now. I live a peaceful life with my dog and cat. My house is always clean, no drama from anyone, and I come and go as I please. Just take each day as one day down. You'll be on the other side before you know it. Story 17. There is no point in hurting each other. Let her go. Get on with your life and love your kids. Insist on fairness when negotiating time with your kids. Story 18. She's probably tapped out a long time ago and you just don't realize it. She's working her way out and now it's the right time for her. You can fight, but it will be fighting a lost cause. The only thing you can salvage is custody of your two beautiful children. Go find a close friend to share your sorrow. Find a quiet place to let your tears out and scream at nothingness. Sorry, stranger. Story 19. This wasn't out of the blue. Women generally don't just wake up one day and think, I want a divorce. It's usually a long process of them not being happy for a long time and their husbands ignoring all the signs and assuming either everything is fine or she would never leave me. Your wife probably hasn't been happy for a long time. I'm sorry you're going through this, but that's just my honest opinion. I'm a social worker who's working toward becoming a therapist, and in almost all situations, the man in the relationship is oblivious to how unhappy his wife has been for sometimes years before she calls it quits. I'm not trying to point the finger at you and say you're the problem. For all we know, your wife is crazy. I don't know, but I know she isn't happy or she wouldn't ask for a divorce, and you should try to figure out why she's not happy and why she didn't feel she could come to you sooner. Also, go talk to a good lawyer because this can get messy. Hopefully, she's not spiteful and she's willing to be reasonable, but if she's not, it can get rocky. Some of you misconstrued my post, and perhaps that's my fault for not communicating my point properly. I'm not blaming the original poster for his wife wanting a divorce, but rather trying to get him to understand that it likely wasn't out of the blue. It was probably a gradual thing. And yes, he does need to take some responsibility for the communication breakdown, and so does she. Relationships generally don't break down because of one person. It's usually a two-way street. His wife clearly didn't handle things in a healthy way, and she was wrong to just take off for a month and then say, I want a divorce. That's a really unfortunate thing to do. But the original poster needs to ask himself, why did this happen? What led up to this? And truly analyze the situation. His wife didn't feel comfortable communicating with him. Her solution was avoidance. So, what happened? That's the key. And what role did he play in all of this? Again, relationships are a two-way street. She also plays a role in things and needs to acknowledge her role as well. We seem to have a weird black and white divide in society right now. Other people have this neo-feminist belief that it's always the man's fault and men are terrible misogynistic creeps who want to hurt women, or a red pill belief that women are all hypergamous evil people who want to ruin men. And neither is true. The truth is that most people do what they do in relationships because they don't work on themselves, they don't work on the relationship, and they allow their emotions to steer the ship, both men and women. To be honest, a lot of people just shouldn't marry each other. I see so many couples who should have never gotten married. They don't want the same things in life, they don't share the same values, and there were usually issues before they got married that were ignored completely and swept under the rug. These relationships are doomed to fail, and it's why 50% of marriages don't work out. Story 20. It's never out of the blue. I'm willing to bet you haven't listened to a single word she said in years. Never lifted a finger to do your share of household labor and childcare. You probably just neglect responsibilities and play golf or video games or hang out with friends and drink while she does all the work. The only time you try to talk to her is when you're interested in intimacy. These "I was totally blindsided" posts are so ridiculous that they have to be fiction or trolling. No man can be this unaware, right? Right? Story 21. 3 divorces. First cost $3,000. Second, we got a mediator and maybe $300. Third, I knew my way around, went to the courthouse, did the papers myself, it cost maybe $150. Story 22. I'm about 1 year ahead of you at this very moment. Get a lawyer right now. She's done, and your priority is those kids. Don't move out. She's out of the house right now. Get your lawyer's advice on allowing her to come home. Make sure the kids are registered at the same school they went to last year. Estimated time of arrival. Dude, I'm sorry. This sucks. Story 23. Sorry to hear it, brother. I wish I could give you advice or guidance of some kind, but the simple truth is, the next year is going to be difficult for you. I hate that it's happening to you. There's really not much you can do. Just be prepared to fight. Be prepared to go from loving this person to seeing them as your adversary, because if this all goes to court, that is what she is going to be now, whether you like it or not. Be sure you get the time with your children that you and they deserve in whatever settlement you end up going with. I'm going to give you some advice that I think may help. A lot of people are going to tell you to focus on yourself and all that, and they are right. Just please, don't let yourself mourn this loss with alcohol. It's not worth it. During my divorce, I consumed more alcohol than most people could likely survive. I just didn't want to feel the pain, so I felt the booze instead. And being self-destructive isn't going to help you or your kid. I went through mine in the 90s, and there was still a stigma around therapy. Those stigmas are gone now, so please take advantage of whatever counseling you can. Also, look around your area and find a boxing gym. Exercise helps, but putting your anger and frustrations into that heavy bag can be a lifesaver. It will let you get that aggression out in a healthy way. Just be sure you let someone train you if you're not familiar with the equipment. You don't need a broken hand or fractured wrist on top of everything else you're going to be going through. If you're a person who is religious, lean into your faith and pray. If you're not, well, then hopefully you have friends and family upon whom you can lean. And again, please seek out some therapy to help you talk through your situation. It really does help. I wish the best for you and will keep you in my prayers. Even if you aren't someone who values faith, I hope you'll take that as positive energy or whatever works for you. Blessings to you and your kids, and I hope you can find some peace, even if it may take a lot of time to get there.